the top. You are sitting on a terrace above a valley, and everything you can see from here answers to you. 300 men take orders from your voice. Officials in 2 countries are paid to look the other way. You have more money than you can physically store, and no way to spend it in daylight. You are the boss, el Patrón, the top of a pyramid that took 25 years to climb. And you are the least safe man in the entire organization. Because every rung you climb multiplies the money, and multiplies the number of people who need you gone. So let's start at the bottom, where you started. Rank 1. Halcón, the lookout. You are 15 years old, sitting on a low wall at the end of your street, and you are technically employed. They call you a Halcón, a falcon, a lookout. Your entire job is to notice things. Police vehicles, unfamiliar cars, faces that don't belong to this neighborhood. You have a cheap phone with 3 numbers in it, and instructions to call the moment anything changes. You earn a fraction of what the men above you make. Some weeks it's barely more than the corner shop pays. But the corner shop didn't come and find you. That's the part nobody explains properly. They didn't threaten you into this. They noticed you. Somebody who mattered remembered your name, and at 15, in a place where almost nobody does, that felt like being chosen. You watch older boys move up, new shoes, a motorbike. You learn the pyramid has rungs, and from down here they look climbable. What nobody tells you is that you are the most replaceable person in the structure. If you're arrested, nothing above you even trembles. The wall you're sitting on will have someone else on it by Thursday. You are not an employee, you are a warning system, and warning systems are designed to be expendable. Rank 2, Sicario, the enforcer. You get moved up because you didn't talk. That's the whole interview. A car came, boys got taken in, and you gave the police a blank face and a story that didn't change. Word travels. Somebody decides you're solid. Now, you're the muscle. People step aside for you. Shopkeepers stop charging you. Your mother has started asking questions she doesn't actually want answered. The money is real now. Not rich. Real. Enough that the 15-year-old on the wall looks at you the way you once looked at someone else. But your life expectancy just collapsed. Because the work you do now is the work that makes enemies, and every enemy the organization makes, you meet first. You're the layer between the men who give orders and the consequences of those orders. That's what you were promoted into. Not power, absorption. You stop going to the same places twice. You are 22, and you have already been to more funerals than weddings. And you tell yourself it's temporary. Everyone at this level tells themselves it's temporary. Rank 3, the transporter. You survive long enough to become useful for something other than fear. Now you move product. You drive routes, load compartments, cross checkpoints with a face that gives away nothing. You learn which roads are watched on which days, which officials are paid, and which ones only pretend to be. This is the first level where you're trusted with real value. What sits in the vehicle behind you is worth more than every house on the street you grew up on, which means the calculation has changed. At the bottom, losing you cost the organization nothing. Up here, losing you costs them a fortune, and they'll want to know exactly why. So the fear inverts. You're no longer mostly afraid of the police. You're mostly afraid of arriving with a shortfall you can't explain. Every trip is a coin flip that you keep calling correctly, until the trip where you don't. Rank 4, the Plaza Boss. You get given a territory, a plaza, a corridor, a stretch of road, a section of a city, a crossing point, and everything that moves through it now pays you a percentage. This is where it stops feeling like a job and starts feeling like a position. You don't drive anymore. You have people who drive. You sit in a room and take calls, and money arrives whether you leave the room or not. You buy the house. You buy the vehicles. You start being invited to things. But you've also just become a name on several lists. Rivals want your corridor because it's valuable, and you're one man holding it. The state wants you because you're finally worth the paperwork, and the men above you want to know why last month's figure was lower. At the bottom, the danger came from outside. Up here, most of it comes from inside. The organization has no loyalty as a structure, only individuals who currently find you useful. You have never been wealthier. You have never slept less. Rank 5. The lieutenant. You're now one of a handful of people the boss actually listens to. You don't run a corridor. You run several. Whole regions. You move sums that would have been unimaginable to the boy on the wall. And you manage men who would kill for your job in the most literal sense available. On paper, you are extraordinarily powerful. You are also one of maybe 6 people who know how everything actually connects. The routes, the payments, the names, where the money goes, and how it gets clean. And that knowledge is the most dangerous thing you have ever carried, because it makes you the most valuable person a prosecutor could ever turn. They will offer you a life, and the boss knows they will offer you a life, which means he watches you more closely than he watches his enemies. Trust at this altitude is just a word for exposure. Rank 6, El Patrón. And then one day, the man above you falls, and you're back on that terrace looking out at the valley. You have everything you climbed 25 years for. Total control. Wealth that stopped being a number and became a logistical problem. Men who would die for you, or say they would. And you cannot go outside. You move constantly. You don't sleep in the same place twice. You limit who knows where you are. And you understand, permanently, that one of them will eventually decide their life is worth more than your secret. You're hunted by 2 governments, several rivals, and the ambition of every lieutenant who watched how you got here and took notes. There is no rank above this one, and no exit from it. Nobody here retires. There's a cell, a grave, or a quiet betrayal by someone who eats at your table. The payoff. So look back down the ladder. At every level, the same rule held. The money flowed upward, and the risk flowed downward. The boy on the wall carried almost none of the money and almost all of the disposability. The man on the terrace carried all of the money and everyone's ambition. Nobody here was ever safe. They just changed which danger they were exposed to. And the organization doesn't care. Take out the Halcón, another sits on the wall. Take out El Patrón, and within a month, there's a new one on a new terrace, giving the same orders in the same valley.
That's the part the story never shows you. It was never yours. You were just the person holding it when the music stopped.
If you made it this far, subscribe. There's more of these coming.